I took out all the comments and marks because it was real messy, of course. So we'll just go through real briefly. It's in my game list, so if anyone wants to recall that, they're welcome to. We talked about all this. The left side is biggest. White's using the new wall to build the left. White has to defend. Black settles. Black pressing white. Black builds the bottom. White gets some shape. Sente, we couldn't invade, so we don't mind giving it to black. Double Sente move. And now black Q5 is really big, so we remove that. White presses that since it's already black's. And a big move up top, which is big and bothers black. So now there's a big question, how much defense does that group need? And that's a difficult one to answer. If black doesn't do anything, we can definitely see this black group has awkwardness, right? It can definitely be awkward. So it's a tough question. If we actually stay and defend, that's nice, but white got an awfully two really big moves. So in our variation, we have to play the big move, which also, since it's on the fourth line, supports that black group. And we just need to recall that as an amateur, I can't give us proper moves, but I can give us proper thinking. And being able to play a big move as we help the weak group is definitely the kind of thing we want to do. What comes in, we do our attacking, and we're not here to do a serious attack. Our center group and our top group is not prepared for a serious attack. So we do a soft attack while defending both our top group and our center. But black has some peeps like E6. Yeah, that's a good point. As white comes after the center, black has these moves which are very meaningful, and the white group itself is also not all that alive. So that's another reason to feel comfortable not giving that black group a whole move defense. Okay, so we come up, white comes up. As white comes up, that starts allowing these sorts of things. Black's getting separated. There's some thinness here. So black thickens it up. If white jumps, this is an actual, we should actually be able to cut. So instead, white jumps this way to set the cut. Black comes out, black finishes defending, and that's the end of last week's. Okay, so we start from here. It's my move. And just to start our thinking off, make that an A stone instead of a 1 stone. My A stone has an open skirt. That's usually something we want to fix, but that's not such a big move. That's a pretty small exchange. So in this case, it's not so serious. Black's not helping himself because he's already so strong. He's not attacking, so A's not so big. Next question, the B group, does it need defense? So I'm just going over the stuff that crossed my mind and how shall I find my next move. So I have to ask myself, how do I feel about this? If I'm feeling this is going to be difficult, then perhaps I should have responded. If it's going to be easy, there was no need to respond. So how do I feel about this? I feel awkward about this. I don't have my eyes. I'm behind enemy lines. Is there anything else to consider? Everything else looks good. So I'm going to take the time to defend my B group. And I want a second purpose I don't see a future against any black C group. There's a couple groups over there. I don't see we're going to be able to do anything against those black stones. They're pretty strong. So that's not going to be my second goal. But I do see quite a bit of a gap on the Q line. So I think I'll play closer to the Q line. So I'm going to jump out nice and steady. Instead of a fast run, this is a steady run. It'll bring eyes, and it gets me close to that gap. Okay. Back to you guys. Where for black? R6. We'll mark A and B. It's an obvious spot to look at. Anyone else? C6, K5. Around L6, mark both those, or B4. We're not yet done with the considering the issues on the board. Anyone else? P10. I still say there's two more things to consider. P10, P11, same thing. We'll actually mark both of them. G14. I still say there's two issues to consider. G6, I'm actually going to mark that. Can we look at upper left corner? No. Don't understand the question. Can we look there? H17, there we go. H17, that's one of the issues we consider. White has an open skirt, so that's definitely something on our mind. M17, let's put that at L17. M17 will just die. It's a weak spot. And the last issue is the upper right corner. In the upper right corner, that's not cash yet. White can invade that. So a move like M takes the cash. That's pretty big. Take the whole corner? That's pretty big. Does H17 affect some 3-3 variations or something like that? Yeah, we'll answer that question as we get through these. So, let's start alphabetically. A and B. Right side is big. There's no doubt about that. Should it be? So there's two questions. How big is it, and which should it be? Okay, it's ×2. That means either black can gain the points or white. That's twice the size if only black could take points there. Also, if white plays there, we'd have to call that sente, or else something here should really be. There's got to be aji here now, right? Got to be some aji. So this has a definite feeling of aji to it. So it's ×2 with some sente for white. Is it sente for black? Let's have black play this one. If he doesn't respond, will this white group get in trouble? That seems a bit far-fetched. For white to actually get in trouble if he ignores this move, black would have to surround and remove the eyes. That's a lot of work. So it's sente for one person, and it's points ×2. That sounds like it has a lot of value to it. Which of the two should it be? If we play A, we're immediately burdened by our lone stone and the aji of our openness on the right. Why might I do this immediately? Already we feel like it's a headache for black. So just B. Hi, hon. So does that make sense, the whole A-B deal? No, there are any no's there. So let's take A off. We'll actually make it A. P10 surrounds what? And fixes the R8 problem. Okay, there is no problem because R8's not there. I assume you're talking about black to play. And P10 surrounds what? I don't see P10 surrounding anything. So I don't understand that part, that statement. I like that you went through the details. Good. Puts white behind enemy lines. Or you mean the top group. So G threatens to surround white. Well, white just finished defending, and in a strong way, it's starting to get difficult to hurt that group. Even if they get surrounded, it's starting to get difficult. So I've noticed a lot of key players, the moment their opponent defends, that's when they attack. And it's the strangest thing. The time to attack is before he defends, not after he defends. So white just defended, now's not the great time to be attacking. So G and H all stop white from removing 3 or so points. As G and H, it's not like white's just going to come in and cause trouble. No. And it's not even defending a group, it's defending a relatively small area of points. So G and H just don't make any sense. So A makes sense. Let's move on to D and E. Are they defensive? No. Do they attack? Well, they certainly separate two white groups, but both white groups look pretty good. They stop white from creating a center wall, but black's already in the center, nice and sturdy. White can't do much there. Let me just turn J11 into a white stone. All right, when that happens. Okay, now let's make that white wall. Now that center's starting to look pretty good. Black still has room to come in, so it's not huge, but it's pretty big. There's definite size to it. But the moment we put that stone back, it's pretty hard to make anything in the center. Now, where's all our marks? Made a bunch of marks, now we can't find them. Come on, where are you? Weird. So where do we go? We went there, we have black play there, and then I made a bunch of marks. Not there, not there, not there. You keep trying a couple spots here. I can't find them. That is so weird. They have to be here. We'll have to remake them. Man, that's weird. Where did they go? It was the move that you had white painted. Don't understand that comment. Then move to a couple of white stones. And see, I don't see any letters on this one. It's pretty messy. I'm glad it's not. It was this one. I don't see the numbers in back of. Oh, because they're covered up by the white stones. Darn. And there's no way to get past that. Every now and then I click on the wrong button and I hate that. Okay. So we've got A marked. Someone marked something around E, but again, it doesn't attack anything, it doesn't defend anything, and it's extremely small points. So E, there's nothing around E. We marked E, this E. So, question arises. Let's see. Oh, and white played here. And that's the deal. So, how do I get past that? Maybe by... Can I pass twice? Okay, now we're back on. So, if black plays here and white ignores, if white responds, we got profit in Sente. Great, that was worthwhile. If white doesn't respond, these stones are all connected. White, there's no cut there. That's got to be Sente. We're going to take the whole corner away. That was pretty big. So it looks like H17, white very much wants to respond to. Does that make sense, how H17 looks like Sente? If white ignores, black just rushes into the corner. So that's a big one. So we have to keep, this is where I double passed. So when we go over this game, when you guys review it later, you'll have to somehow get past that misclick where I made the count come up. So we're keeping A, we're keeping B to look at. C we have to keep because it takes the whole corner. That's got to be big. Plus, it makes sure white's eye's pretty much gone. And that has some meaning. So white will, for a living move with N11, but our C move removes the eye on top. So it's kind of a counter, puts black back in a weak, white back in a weak position. People also mark something around D, but it's not defense because there's no way to hurt black. It's taking center points, and center points are almost always too small. Certainly in this case, they're too small. L17. Right, this would be attacking white. And again, white just defended. If we attack, white will just ignore. It's just not, white's not that weak. Okay, I think that's the three main ideas. In sorting through these, the question arises, if we don't play B, let me read this first, with A, doesn't it seem like white really wants R8 after N11? Good point, yes. So Zenith is saying the white's D-E combination is very powerful, right? White plays the first move, we ignore. White plays the second move. Oh, those moves are working together particularly well. Let's just say black fixes. Look at the center white's developing. So indeed, they are working together, forming more Sente against black, forming more center. Yeah, that's an excellent point. So let's remove E, because that's not the point we're talking about. So A is getting bigger and bigger, but let's talk about B for a second. Let's say black doesn't play it, and white says, you fool, and plays it. That's such a small move for white in Gote. It's reverse Sente, but what, 4 points in Gote? That's pretty small. So we're in no rush to play B. Let's try this other one. We don't play C, and white comes in. How do we feel about white's life in there? Usually, this is Sente for the cut. Is it Sente this time? Yeah, still Sente. If black does this, we Atari and kill some stones. Okay, so we still have to play here. That's pretty darn big. So that means if white comes in, we're going to have to play this way and give away the corner. And that's points times 2 also. And the corner is bigger than the side. Got a little lag here. Come on, there we go. So I'm saying C is bigger than A. They're both good, but C's corner. Let me read some of this. With A, doesn't seem like white wants that right. If white played at R17, it would keep black from gaining about 14, so C is worth 14, plus the points that white gained. White gains at least 5 or 6, so that's 20 points right there. Can we have B for free? Well, then C. The timing becomes more and more important as you get stronger and stronger, and we already know white's not going to play B. So why give white the opportunity to play this? White might choose to do that. And we don't need to play H17. White's not going to do it. So there's really no rush to make that risky ignore. So between C and A, I also like C because as black plays the next one and we respond, our response hurts the center group. Remember, we just played P18, which hurts his eyes on top. Then we add this one. That's 2 attacking moves against white, both of which come naturally. We're not like, I'm attacking white. No, I happen to be pressuring white as I'm doing something else. We've got 2 of those in, white's really feeling it. So this is a very nice flow for black. Does that all make sense? Good. So black plays here. White goes ahead and plays the big move. Black really likes coming up. So then, would white have time to just R7 rather than N11? Oh, back to N11. That's going to get messy when I get back up to that. Let's try it. R7. Well, that's risky. White never responded. We can start coming after white now. There's no way to use the Aji. White's too weak on top. So no, it's just fanciful. And back to here. Was it here? And then back to this, and this. And white to play. White's going to play here, threatening to help his group. We're going to split, hurting the underneath, trying to bother that profit, then white defense. That flow makes sense. Notice instead of just coming out, giving this to black, white has another way of defense, which is this big move, threatening to connect under. And instead of splitting, we can split more aggressively, threatening that profit that white just made. Then white gets up. Yeah, should all make sense. And where for black? Black to play. No. Six. Anyone else? E 6G6 G18 these are the two sequences. Yeah, that's it. C4. Okay, so B and C aren't for defense and aren't for attack. They're to gain some center points. Well, they certainly don't help white. They do help black. Are they indeed sente? C is for sure. Yeah, this is okay. This helps black in the center, and it's real sente. Is this one real sente? I don't think so. If white ignores, it removed the I, but to invest an entire move in gote to give someone a false I, that means they have to be pretty darn weak. That's a real risk. And if black does the Atari, then again it's gote for 4 points. E4 instead of number 5. E4. Oh, right. So black either gets, yeah, so there's really nothing there, unless we're saying we're really going to attack white, and that's premature. But the 1 helps our center. I mean, there's a gap there, and there's potential points, and this definitely helps. Does it bother us that we're throwing away a co-threat? No, it doesn't, because white could play this kind of move at any time, and we probably want to stop white from coming in to maintain our health. And then white might find a different way of answering this. So indeed, that's good to play that. Where did our marks go? I have no idea where our marks went. I got some lag going on there. Come on. Big lag. Am I still on? Oh, there we go. I'm back. Oh, now it's weird again. Where'd you go? Here? I'm having the darndest time finding my marks today. They're there. So, black to play. A, again, I don't see any attack with A. C has a momentary profit, and that's fine. It doesn't hurt us, it only helps us. F is in game, in order to play F. E and D, those are the main moves. We just played J18, he ignored. And that's a rule. When you go hit your opponent, well, it's more like you get ready to hit him and he ignores, you got to follow through. So that's what this is. We're going to ruin your profit. White says, go ahead. So we do it. Just before we do it, we put in that exchange and then do it. All right, am I on the right move? Let's see, white played black, white, black, white, black. There we go. Are we all caught up? Everything's making sense? Okay, good. White doesn't want all the profit to go away, so white stops. Luckily, we're not finished. Or the question is, are we finished? There's a or a B next. If we can continue doing this in cente, continuing to get profit for free, certainly we will. If we're able to capture the C stone, that's valuable because our two stones have some weakness, and white can get some profit from that. So we need to read out the cut. Wrong button, just a second. If Atari, getting a lot of lag here. Am I cutting out when there's that lag? Okay, so far you're still sounding good. I'm getting a lot of lag. Okay, white runs. White, assuming white says Atari, white's going to die, right? Either this death or the other death. So this works. So white can't afford that. So the other thing is for white to play this way. And we have a great, F18 is very large, and there's a cut. White probably fixes the cut. I'm not feeling in trouble here. I'm going to hand control to RJ. And can you show that way, Ryan? All right, taking control back. Let me just play that for myself so I can see it happen. Atari out, Atari, that sounds good. And black takes. This is not small. If white doesn't respond, is white really willing to risk a ko here? It's a big corner, well, even if he is. The overall result is we got quite a bit of profit there, and we can still capture another stone. And there's a P. There's a lot of activity here for black. A lot of things are happening, and they're all profitable. So I still like this move. As I mentioned earlier, as an amateur, I can't say that it is or is not. But if we point out all the little details are all in black's favor. The end game continues, there's cuts, there's peeps. There's just a lot of profit building up. So I certainly like that. But the other thing to notice is if we don't play it and white fixes, did we feel bad? No. It's incredibly small. White go back and gote to fix that. We'd love to play elsewhere. So there's no rush. That means we shouldn't play it now since white's not going to play it. Okay, where for black? K9 S9 R2 P8 C6 there's something about these moves that's different from anything else we've seen so far. Can someone tell me what that is? Yes, these are all in-game moves. We just finished middle game. So what other in-game moves are there? Let's not forget B9. That's a nice in-game move. especially with that C13 cut so close by. That could be useful. Okay. Considering in-game, A, that's center again. Well, it's black center growing and white center diminishing. So it's center times 2, which has to make it worth talking about. For doing in-game, can you put G17 back? Yes, except I just can't imagine white playing a move there. Even if white chooses this one, well, this one's possible. I was thinking black still has this, but actually he doesn't. This is too painful. With the Agi of G17, could we invade into the corner? No, I don't think so. That corner's looking pretty solid. Yeah, I don't see it. Tempting. Tempting. It's not going to work though. Hard to imagine it working. Well, it's getting more and more interesting because there is a cut here. It's interesting. So there's more chances than I thought there were. Interesting. We'd have to sit down and do a lot of reading. So much closer than I thought it would be. Okay, D. If white plays it, I'm a little confused here. So black, white, black's move. So we pass. If white plays it, white's creating how much in the center? Approximately 2, 4, 6, 8, less than 10. In at least gote, possibly reverse sente. I guess we have to keep. Now I can't find my marks again. There they are. So we have to keep D. B's big because if we don't respond, this is our biggest area, and he comes in. And if we play it, if he doesn't respond, that's a lot of points. So I put B pretty far up there because it's defending, it's taking away his endgame against our biggest area. R2, well, so let's compare B and C. We play C, big move, times 2, but it doesn't threaten anything. He plays his move, threatens something. So when it comes to endgame, it's not so much how big is the move, how many points does it represent, but much more important than that is it double sente? Is it double gote? Is it reverse sente? The quality of the points is more important than the quantity of the points. Does that sentence make sense? I'll repeat it. The quality of the points. So double sente, 2 points, is far larger than double gote, 10. Okay. And B is double sente, or very close to double sente. C is double gote. So we can definitely get rid of C. I want to get rid of A, but it is times 2, and there's no getting around that. And white does have issues, so there is some future there. So A has to be kept as we're looking at our main group to choose from. E doesn't create anything, removes very little. I'm going to get rid of E. F I like. It creates some nice in-game there. Let's look at that briefly. White doesn't respond. See this shape developing? I don't think black can do it right away, but we're making this nasty shape. And granted, we can't do it right away, but it's there, which means it'll be done in 30 moves. Whether we do it now or in 30 moves, it's still the same shape. So this B9 is a little bigger than it looks. So I'd like to keep F. G, I'm just not going to be too depressed if white plays there. So we do nothing, white plays here, I go, that doesn't bother me. I don't care white played there. So I'm going to get rid of G. C4 or B4 should be big gote in game, which has a future later against the white group. Okay, so it's usually, let's actually look at all three of, these are the 3 moves to look at. Of the 3, this is the one we generally play. Because if Atari, if we take the stone, let's assume we're going to lose the ko, what did we gain? Almost nothing. Very small gain. If we play here, same thing. Really not a lot of gain there. But here, white has no such counter. White's only, for white to do anything at all, it would be here, and we've actually accomplished something. So, granted, there's some size here, but let's look at 2 things. What can white gain there? Not a heck of a lot. 2 points? It's not a lot to worry about. Black's gaining just a few. So the points aren't worthwhile, but the other part of the question is, we might have a future against the group. Well, the group has an eye already, and is thick, and is out. Well, the idea of attacking that, at this point, I wouldn't say, yeah, and I'll attack it later. Well, it's out, it's strong. At the moment, that doesn't make sense. If we played A, and white took a big move, and we, let's just say we make a thread and we start jumping out, and white says he's going to defend, now it's making more sense. There's many more black stones around, so that could change. But at the moment, there's not much attack against that group. So I don't like the triangled area. I personally don't like B at all. I don't like the shape black gets. For instance, this sequence is like, ugh. I just don't like this shape. I just as soon play this and get a better shape rather than a worse shape. Strengthen my position rather than weaken my position. So for those reasons, I'd get rid of D. I wouldn't be confident because D has other things too. It shows that white's groups aren't that fantastic. Well, that's true. So there may be something more to this than I'm giving it credit. But B, pretty big move. So let's get rid of D to suit my desires. And A, B, and let me change that to C. So that whole process we went through, that's certainly how I do my endgame. In my head, I look, here's the moves that are next. You know, few players tend to go, oh, I'll push here. Well, this is ridiculous. It has nothing to do with anything. It just uses up liberties and makes white stronger. It's just like, that's not in the equation. Oh, maybe I'll turn here. That's just not in the equation. So first I get the big group of here's the moves to consider. Then I start tossing out moves that look halfway good, big but not interesting. But they just don't fit. And I'm left with a smaller group, in this case 3 moves, which are like, okay, all these 3 moves are quite meaningful. Now I'll start my reading. That whole sequence takes seconds. And then the second part, let's see which of these I prefer, takes a little longer. I like B just because I know if white plays B, I'm going to respond. And once that happens, then you've got another one, and then another one. You know, and it's just, I just hate getting pushed around like that. On the other end, if I do it and he doesn't respond, I love coming in. It makes me so happy. He's becoming weak, all his territory's gone, his stone could die. It changes the whole area. So that's why I like B so much. Is white Q2 sente? That's a good question. Let's say it is. That means white has to ignore, or else it's gote. If white ignores, white's profit is almost nothing. If white responds, okay, white picked up a definite point, but in gote. It wasn't that big in gote. So this double gote kind of idea tends to be last. Okay, so we don't often talk about endgame in lectures. One reason is it's very detailed, and how much time did we spend on just this one endgame move? It took 10 minutes just to get through all the different ideas and comparing them and why this and why that. So we're out of time. Of the 3, I would play B, but I wouldn't have confidence. I wouldn't play C because white can just ignore and it's not terrible. So I'd say it's A or B. I don't like A personally, just because I know every time I think, this time the center's biggest. I'm always wrong. Even when I'm positive, now, this time, finally the center's biggest. And the pro says, no, not even now. I'm like, man, when is it biggest? Not very often. So I'd stick with B. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Hope we all had a good time. Hopefully learned something. This brings us back down to 0 in the fund. Feel free to donate if you want us to continue. We may or may not see you next week. Okay, everybody. Bye. Put the address of what? Donating address? Okay, I will. Thanks, everybody. Bye.